Welcome to Travel with Sean. I'm Sean, and today we are at a Portuguese cork factory in the southern part of Portugal known as Algarve. Lot to see, it's very interesting. So let's get started. Did you know that cork oak trees do not grow everywhere? In fact, there are not many countries that produce cork. It is native only to southwest Europe and northwest Africa. Among these, Portugal is the number one producer of cork in the world, accounting for over 50% of the worldwide cork production and over 60% of worldwide cork exportation. Harvesting begins after the tree is 25 years old, and then once every 9 years. It is harvested by hand, cutting and peeling it away from the tree. The harvesting of cork is usually limited to dry weather. If they harvest during times of dampness or high humidity, it's harder to separate the cork from the tree, and it increases the chances of cutting the trunk. And then the tree itself is likely to get infected, which is dangerous for the life of the tree. The first cut is called the virgin cut, which is about the bottom 3 feet of the tree. After 9 years, harvesters will take another cut from where they did previously. This second cut is called the secondary cut. At that time, they will take an additional 3 feet or so going up the tree from the secondary cut. The third time they harvest from a tree, they remove cork from the same place where they started, and that cut, and every cut thereafter, it is called amendia. That is the best quality and the highest value cork. The part of the tree that was a virgin cut in the previous 9 years is now harvested as secondary, and then they take an additional virgin cut. This continues every 9 years until all of the tree is amendia. Then the tree is producing its maximum potential, and the life expectancy of a cork oak tree is about 200 to 300 years. Here's a couple of examples of what the cork looks like shortly after it's been removed from the tree and before it's been boiled or pressed. You can see the density of the cork. And again, in review, there are 3 different cuts. The first cut is virgin after 25 years. 9 years later, when it's cut, it is secondary. 9 years after that, and every time after that when it's cut, it is amendia. Amendia being the highest value and the best quality cork. After the cork is harvested, it's left out in the sun for several months to dry. After that, it's brought into the factory and boiled for about an hour in a vat like this while pressing it to make it flatter. The boiling process kills any bacteria or insects that may be present on the cork, and it makes it easier to cut and easier to flatten. This is done from about the beginning of September until around the end of December or the end of January. Cork pellets are burned to produce the heat used to boil the newly harvested cork. And then it sits on pallets around the factory for about another week or two to dry out. The value of cork has been known for thousands of years. In the 1st century, an author on nature observed that the bark of cork oak trees is extremely thick, and when cut, it grows again. He also commented that neither water nor air can pass through cork. This is the quality that makes them magnificent for storing wine. Cork was used as a wine stopper even in the Roman Empire, except they covered it with pitch. They also used cork for the soles of their shoes to soften their step, and they attached it to fishing nets to help them float. It was Benedictine monks in France in the 1600s that developed a method of stopping up bottles with clean cork. Then they manually check it for fungus, bacteria, or other defects. Any signs of bacteria or fungus means that the cork cannot be used for wine bottle stoppers, but it can be ground down, granulated, to be used for other products. If the piece of cork has some other problem, perhaps a crack or uneven thickness, the person sorting it will cut out the problem or separate the parts with different density. Whatever gets cut off from a cork board is bundled up and sold to be granulated. This is among the lowest quality of cork and is used for making many different types of products. Here's an example of cork wood with too many cracks. They can't fill them all, so this wood has to be included with those that get granulated. During the process of examining the cork specimens harvested, they sort the cork into 4 batches, depending on the quality and the thickness of the pieces of cork. The ideal piece of cork is thick enough to be a wine bottle cork stopper. It should also be dense and have no holes. A good cork stopper for high-end wine usually costs about 6 to 8 euros each because the cork helps the wine breathe better and the wine can lay on its side for a long duration without the wine stopper falling apart. The first batch is the top grade, used for champagne bottles and fine wines. Champagne cork stoppers, when removed, have the appearance of a mushroom shape, but they're not made that way. That shape comes from the cork stopper being forcibly pressed into the bottle, with whatever is left on the outside of the bottle becoming flat, making the bottle able to be opened without a corkscrew. The second grade is used for Portuguese wines, Port, Douro, or Madeira. The third grade cork is for red and white wines that are not expected to be stored for a long duration. The fourth grade of cork is granulated for all other purposes: clothing, bags, insulation, flooring, etc. It is also added to third grade cork to make stoppers for lower quality wines. Those cork stoppers have a small amount of third grade cork close to the wine, and then the rest of it is granulated cork. That's why most of the time, when you open a bottle of wine, the corkscrew causes the stopper to start falling apart. There are several different ways to make a cork wine stopper, depending on the size and the quality of the piece of cork. If it is thick and dense with no holes, then a machine or a person can simply punch out the corks. These are the best types of cork. If the cork has holes in it, these holes can be filled up with cork dust and glue. It is extremely rare that cork harvesters would remove a strip significantly longer than about 3 feet. Most cork trees have branches beginning at 10 to 12 feet up so most of the time it's impossible. Here is an example of one of those extremely rare strips removed all at one time. Here are some examples of products made with cork: lampshades, pens, wine bottle stoppers, covers for lotions, cosmetics, bookmarkers, coin purses, various different jewelry, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, many other. Look at the different bags. Some cost 10 euros, some 15 euros. Various different styles, whether it's a handbag, shoulder bag, clutch purse, backpack. Cork is very good material for a lot of different products, especially purses, backpacks, hats, etc., because cork is water resistant and very durable. The Portuguese are so proud of their cork that their metro seats are even designed to look like they're padded with cork. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Then you can be alerted to future episodes of Travel with Sean. Thanks again.